Welcome, everybody, to Brooklyn Heights Pizza in Leander. We have a great podcast for you tonight. Leander Lions football will be discussed. We're going to start off with Coach Smith. We'll have our new trivia game, Are You Smarter Than Parker McNeil, at some point with our special guest interviewee, Principal Miss Tiffany Spicer. So stick around or listen later. There'll also be video posted on YouTube. It'll be hosted by SHN Sports, produced by Carl Schoening and SHN Sports. I'd like to thank Coach Smith, Gary Gutierrez, and Mickey Holden, our camera person. And let's get right into it, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Talk about Eastview. What were the highlights as you see them?
There was a lot of highlights that we came out ready to play. What the great thing about our kids is, you know, there might have been this adversity with the weather and all that stuff, and it didn't matter. We just came out and played. They knew their jobs. It didn't matter who was in there. Knew their jobs, knew what they're supposed to do. They knew how hard they had to play to win a game, and that's what they did. There were so many great plays and well-executed plays on all levels from player 1 to player 56. It was a good night for the Lions. There hadn't been a win like that in a long time for the Lions.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to announce the game, right, Gary?
Yeah, it was. It really was.
Now, given all of that, it looks like at least over the last couple of games, and even a little bit in the games before, it looks like the team is firing on all the cylinders in all three aspects of the game: offense, defense, and even special teams. Talk about how important it is for them to continue to improve and kind of play with that sense of urgency that you've seen the last couple of weeks on offense, defense, and special teams, and how that's going to play out in the coming weeks.
I think all our kids are pretty focused. They understand what's at stake and what our goals are and what they have to do as a program. And you know, as part of our foundation, that competing and improving every day, every practice is a huge focus of ours. And you're starting to see the results. Our goal right now is to be the best team after 10 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I think if you talk to some of the coaches in our district, they go, yeah, Leander's pretty darn good. And, we're not done. We finished this week of practice, and we had 3 great practices, stacking those practices up. The kids know that we're only guaranteed 3 more practices the next week. So they know what's at stake, and to stay together as long as they can, they'll keep practicing hard.
Keep fighting.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, given that, who's in front of us, number 10, Vista Ridge? Talk about Vista Ridge and mainly focus on their strengths initially, and, because I'm sure we're not going to cover what we plan on attacking.
Vista Ridge is really good. They're a 10th-ranked team in the state. They have a lot of team speed on both sides of the ball. Their quarterback was one of the MVP top quarterbacks last year in the district. He's the second leading rusher in our district. His name's Matt Snow. Yes. He's rushed for about 1,200 yards in 8 games. Real good player, real strong, real fast. He's probably, as a high school quarterback, he's more than adequate as a passer. They don't ask him to do a lot of that. I think he's completing about 53% of his passes for about 700 yards. Not very much. They have some other nice pieces in their offense also. Their O-line is big and huge, and they're pretty physical. Their best scheme up front is that they like to zone. They got a couple of real fast kids that they like to get the ball to, and like fly sweeps and that kind of stuff. They run a little bit of option, not enough to be, scary, but enough to make it,
make you have to practice for it, prepare for it.
And defensively, they play great team defense. Rodney, Coach Vincent does a great job over there with their defense, and JL guys. He's the DC over there, and Coach Todd Brown's their offensive coordinator. They all do a real good job over there as a coaching staff with their kids. As far as kids go, they have a similar type of kids, kind of tough, hard-nosed type kids that work real hard, and some pretty good athletes over there.
Yeah, I know they have a lot of speed, a lot of track-type speed.
Yes.
So, That sometimes converts to football, but not always.
You know, what's funny is like they do. They're real fast, but I was talking to Coach Doolby, who's our head track coach, and he said they don't go off a track. He said that like Snow does. Their track team is very average, not very good.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, they're number 10, and that's what we've talked about. We played a team earlier, first district game, that was number 9 at the time in state, a good team. That team, Georgetown, almost pulled out a win against Vista Ridge on Friday. Have you reviewed that film, and do you see some things that we can attack? I'm not going to ask you to say anything specific, but do you see some things there that we can exploit? Or?
Well, we talk every week, and we're more worried about the Lions, what we do each week, and if we take care of ourselves, the game will take care of itself. I don't think our kids knew until probably right now that they were the 10th ranked team in the state. They do watch their film and all this stuff, and they feel very confident on what we can do on Friday. And it doesn't matter, 10th, 12th, 20th. Those rankings, I'll tell you what those rankings mean. This past week, we were ranked 68th in 5A. 40 slots ahead of us was Georgetown. So, they just don't mean anything. They're 40 slots. We beat them, and they're 40 slots ahead of us. So it makes no sense at all.
It's a vague representation of what it should be.
Well, being that this is your first year, and you kind of, let's say, started from scratch. At this point in the season, how do you see how your team and your staff has come together thus far in the season, and how are things clicking right now for you?
Oh, it's real exciting. You can see them improving, and like Parker. You see Parker getting better each week. Coach Rob's pretty strong, and I don't worry about him. He's very creative, and he's been doing it for a long time. Coach Pleasant, it's real exciting to watch him just improve each week, handle his side of the ball, handle his coaches and all that stuff, and you can just see every coach kind of grow. We'll be real lucky if we keep these coaches around here. If they don't want to be head coach at another school or something like that.
Yeah.
So we're just every year I tell lies about them and stuff like that and say keep them as long as I can.
He's late to work every day.
Yeah, they're terrible. So
well, he's up for an award. I saw today.
That doesn't matter. We just want the free milk. We want the free chocolate milk. So if he wins it, that's all. That's our complete focus of that whole award thing.
But people out there can go to Dave Campbell's website and vote for Coach Rob as Assistant of the Week.
And Coach Rob is deserving. He's a great coach. The kids love him, and he does an exceptional job on so many aspects of our program. He handles recruiting and academics, and I think there's 200 kids in the program, and I think we only had 3 kids fail with like 68s and stuff like that. So he's doing a tremendous job there, and he works hard every day on recruiting and making sure our kids get visible and looked at by the college level.
Well, I know that number was probably higher grade-wise in the past, from my understanding. So.
Yeah, he let it be known. I handled academics last year. I think he only beat me by 1, but I had more kids recruited. I think that was the deal.
So not only with the guys that are being looked at in terms of recruiting, you guys walk the hallways and say, "Hey, look at that guy. He should be
never.
he should be on the offensive line."
Nope. It's don't do that. If a kid wants to play, we'd like them. We don't just allow a kid to come in and play in the fall.
Sure.
They got to go through off season. Those kids over there, they're eating all that pizza right now. They went through the fires and all that stuff. So if they really want to play football for Leander, they're going to go through those fires with those other kids, and we're just not going to let a kid come out and say, "I want to stand on the sideline and be a Lion." That's not how it's going to work.
You want somebody that wants to be involved.
Yeah, and it doesn't. I mean, it could be. They could be. Not a very good athlete, not very strong. As long as they go through those fires with those kids, they deserve to be on our sideline and deserve to get a chance to play. If they don't go through off season, or come out in the summer, it's hard for me to go justify letting the kid come out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wonderful. Now, I'm going to kind of shift the focus a little bit because we've got a special guest interview coming up. And so my last question is going to kind of segue into that interview.
Tiffany Spicer is here.
I want you to talk about, your relationship with Miss Spicer. When did y'all meet? Was it when she was hired? Mm-hmm. And how has that progressed? And not just focus on her, but because she's a guest, a little bit focus on her, but the other administrators through the district and at Leander High School, how are they working with you to impact these players and the community and the families that are all, getting involved?
I'll just say this about from the Leander ISD from top down, it's exceptional. Been in other school districts. they don't compare. This is the best. Every school district in the state of Texas should be measured by ours. It's exceptional. Been in this for over close to 10 years. There's not one that's better than ours. The administrators and our staff and our campus are unbelievable. It's made my job easy. I first got the job, I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing here, and they were like, they kind of helped me out, and Ms. Porter really helped me out with the scheduling and helping getting our coaches in the right path. I met Ms. Spicer. I think she was on the job probably less than a month, and we had construction through athletics and through our whole building. They were redoing it, and she came out to speed and strength camp. And I thought she was a mom out there going to complain and yell at us or something like that. So I was real nice to her, but yes, ma'am. But then I found out, yeah, she was our boss. But she's awesome. She's been real helpful. I mean, more than helpful with me. She's really supportive. She loves athletics. She loves football. She knows every kid in our school by their first name. She's amazing.
Awesome. Well, let's bring her up and talk to her. Everybody give a hand to Coach Smith. And welcome your principal, Ms. Spicer.
And we'll have Coach Smith back on a little later if you guys have any questions for him.
Hi.
Hello, Ms. Spicer. I'm Chuck. Nice to meet you.
How you doing? Gary
Hi.
Gutierrez.
Nice to meet you.
Now, I did a just very minute amount of research, so I really want this to be like more of I'm just getting to meet you for the first time kind of thing, and so that's where my questions are focused, so that's okay. So I want you to start with your educational experiences as a student, because I'm sure that story doesn't always come out. Talk about your high school experiences. What extracurriculars were you involved in? And then talk about the college you went to, and we'll move on from there.
Okay. Military brat. So I traveled across the United States with my parents. My dad was in the Air Force for 20 years. And so I was born in Texas, but I moved to California. After that, moved back to Texas for elementary school, then middle school. I went to 4 different middle schools because he had to move a lot. Virginia as well, California, Texas, and New Mexico. I stayed there for high school. So a lot of people don't know I'm from Albuquerque. Yes, I know a little bit of Spanish. Not that great, but I went to high school there, but I knew I wasn't going to stay there.
Right.
So I did apply to the University of Texas at Austin. Went there for 4 years. That was the best 4 years of my life. After that, married, children, all that kind of good stuff. But I realized I want to teach. So as a stay-at-home mom, raising your own kids, it's like, okay, I like this. I like these kids. They're cool. Maybe I can do other kids. However, I'm not the best with the youngest. They're cute, but they cry. I like the bigger kids. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I like the bigger kids. They do talk back. Sometimes it's in the negative sense, but I can handle it.
Right.
So went back to school, got certified to be a teacher. I was a social work major at UT.
Okay.
After I taught for a few years, I went back, got my master's at Texas State, so I'm a Bobcat as well. Got you. And so that was like amazing. And then after that, I went to Texas A&M University. So I'm currently there working on my PhD for education administration. So when I grow up, I want to be a superintendent.
Right, and that's something that these guys should notice.
Right.
Education, your own personal education, it's not, oh, I get to graduate high school and I'm done, or I got my bachelor's degree and I'm done. You have to continue to improve yourself.
Right.
Whether it's professional certifications or just self-improvement.
If we're
kind
not
of
learning,
stuff.
we're not growing, and
That's
I can't
right.
model that for my students and my teachers if I'm not doing it myself.
Yeah.
I think that message is communicated pretty well in the high school. So there's a couple of other things. You didn't really focus on what your extracurriculars were in high school.
Oh, so in high school, I was...
Were you a cheerleader?
No.
No?
I was an athlete.
You were an athlete.
So played volleyball. I played varsity my freshman year. So we went to state that year. And so all 4 years volleyball player. I played basketball all 4 years. I ran track for one. It was too hot, so I quit. And then I played on the softball team. So senior year, they were like, you should try it. I played, and they're like, you're great. And so I made varsity, played leading position. And that was amazing, but it was a little bit late because I was trying to leave and get out of school.
Yeah.
So I was an athlete. I was also the student body president. I was in BSU. Back in the day, we had Black Student Union, so I was a member of that. You name it, I was in it. National Honor Society, all that good stuff. So I was one of your kind of geek nerd kids who was athletic and had a little bit of smarts to herself.
Well, and I think you could see even early on there was a drive there. So
Yes.
for excellence.
And
So
I
that's
think she's
good.
trying to go to every college in Texas.
Yes,
think so.
all things Texas.
Three down.
Let me ask you this, and this may be an interesting question for some. This is something that I think about. What was your perception of Leander High School prior to being selected as the principal? When you were looking and saying there's an opening, or even before that, what was your perception of Leander High School?
Initially, so I'd been in, I won't tell when I graduated college, but anyway, I moved to Round Rock. Had never really heard of Leander. So, number one, it was never even a thought. I was like, Round Rock or Pflugerville, because I heard of them.
Sure.
They're pretty good districts, you know. Ended up going to Round Rock. I was there for 10 years. When the position for Leander High School came open, I was like, let me see. So I did my homework, which everybody does. Made some phone calls.
You should, at
Knew
least.
some people, and I asked those questions that nobody wants to talk about, and got good feedback on the district, on the school, on the community, and I was like, okay, that sounds like a place I want to work at.
Sure.
So after that, I did apply for the job, and the rest is history, and I wouldn't trade it. The best move I've ever made.
Really?
My Round Rock
That's
people call me
great.
all the time or text me and say, hey, what's going on? Do you like it still? Are you happy?
Trying to get you back?
Yeah, it has to be a promoted job, so I'm like, I have to be like the superintendent of Round Rock if they want me back. They kind of know that already, but I love it. I wouldn't trade it. The people here are amazing. Our parents' support is unheard of. It's very, very great in every aspect. I was just interviewed by the district for another webcast, and I couldn't say enough about the parent support. If you notice, any event that we have, our parents are there supporting our children
that's
for
great.
everything they
Yes.
do, and that's kind of like, that's cool. You know what I mean? And even if they come with a concern, they know I'll listen, validate them, we'll get to an answer, and we'll get back at it. So that's kind of the unique thing. And then if you just, I don't know if you guys have had the opportunity to just walk during the halls during a school day.
Nope.
It's cool.
Yeah,
Our
I
kids
haven't
are
had
very
that.
manable. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. They'll hold the door for you if you're holding stuff. They'll be like, hey, can I get that for you? All kids don't do that.
No.
You know, and so that's just the culture, the climate, the environment, and I think we celebrate it, and the kids know that's an expectation. We try to model it so it happens naturally, so it's not rehearsed. And when people come in, they're like, "Did y'all tell them?" Nope.
Right.
They just do it because that's kind of like the atmosphere we've kind of created and try to maintain.
There is kind of a family atmosphere to Leander High School.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
it's one of the things that we like about it. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about how popular you are amongst all the parents, but before we get to that, I want to ask you a little bit about the football team and being on the sidelines and being a fan of Leander.
Okay.
We see you. We do the broadcast, and we're up in the booth, but we see you at the games.
Oh, I
we
didn't
see you
know
down on
that.
the field.
Oh yeah,
and stuff.
oh yeah. Look, there she's dancing again.
And we see you, with your Lions jersey, you're cheering, and you're out encouraging, supporting the players. You don't always see that at all the schools. And I was going to kind of gear this question to you think you're Jerry Jones of the Cowboys or down? No,
I'm so not like Jerry. He's not fun.
But my question is, how is it different here than other schools in that sense? And then I want you to, from there, go into this question. Because I don't know if this is just a rumor, but I heard that you called an offensive play in the Marble Falls game. And then I would like for you to tell me what happened as a result on that play.
Okay, so I'll go back to the sideline first.
Right.
So I'm a very passionate person. I'm a very competitive person, professionally and personally. So as a mother of two teenage girls who play sports, I'm very involved. I'm not the crazy parent, but I'm very supportive. I cheer all the kids. I know their names, all that kind of stuff. So the same thing translates to my high school students. What I tell people all the time, these are my children.
They're
with
extension,
me
right?
more than they're with their parents because they're with us almost 24/7. So the law says I'm their locus parentis, which is their parents, which I am. And so I kind of take that to heart. So just like any other mother, you are proud of your kids. When we make a mistake, you're just like, get back up, let's go. You know what I mean? And when we do something great, you want them to know that you're their biggest cheerleader. So my parents did it for me, so I just think I'm supposed to do it. So I know I'm kind of
really doesn't
crazy,
look
but
like it's unnatural. It looks very natural when I see you doing
sir.
that kind of
Yes,
stuff in
sir.
silence. So it's really
I love
exciting.
them. I'm proud of them too.
Yeah.
So talk about the play.
I called last week for Eastview.
Was it the Eastview?
No.
Marble
Yeah,
Falls or
Eastview.
Okay, Eastview.
This
Okay, it was
past
Eastview.
week, I got to call, forgot the name of the play. You have to ask Coach.
That's okay.
But they just told me that I need to run a play and get a touchdown. So they told me what to say and what to do. One of our students, Tyler, was over here throwing some signs. And all I know is Parker did his due. We threw the ball, we caught it, and we scored.
It was a touchdown
And
pass?
that was my touchdown. Evidently, I got 2 during the third quarter. I got to
really?
coach the whole third quarter, offense and defense. I think I did a better job on offense than I did defense.
Building a resume.
I am, right?
Is Coach Pleasant here? Is he worried?
He's not here yet.
I don't see
No, I
it.
don't see him either.
But I'm working on, maybe taking his job. But I got a cool tweet from a kiddo, Jake. He said Coach Spicer calls a play and gets a touchdown. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
And one of the assistants sent me an email that night, and she said, so, I heard you dance. Now I heard you're a coach. What else do you do? So I got something else for next, but I can't tell you.
That's
guys.
funny
Okay.
because
We'll
this
be
next
waiting.
question is related to your popularity and the dance that's going around. Talk about that, your popularity amongst. Let me just read it the way I wrote it. That way it's easier. This is my first meeting with you, but I was very interested. I had a son who graduated in May.
Okay.
So when you were first starting, it was his senior year, and so I'm like, who is this Miss
who's this
Spicer and
lady?
everything? And I do know a few administrators in the area through youth football and stuff, and I happen to know one that works in the Round Rock ISD.
Okay.
And I mentioned you to him, and he was very, very positive. And then beyond that, when I talked to my own children and other students, they're really they love you. It's awesome. And teachers, coaches. Coach Smith has had nothing but nice things to say about you, and now parents. So you're kind of like a rock star. I mean, you kind of are in Leander, in a little
Go
bit.
Lions.
And I was going to talk about that video because I'm seeing this video on Facebook and I've seen it on Twitter. The band is playing "Sail" by AWOL Nation, and you're dancing with the Bluebells. Talk about that and how you feel. Do you feel like you've been accepted here in Leander, in this LHS community? And talk about it a little bit, how much you enjoy it.
Well, first of all, that was not planned. I was asked to go speak that night was middle school night. Mm-hmm. So we had our middle school feeder band kiddos up in the stands, and they were like, hey, come meet the 8th graders. So I went, did our due, spoke, so proud to have you, can't wait to be fresh next year, class of 2020, yay, let's go, bye. Mm-hmm. So I leave, and one of the Bluebells like, Miss Spicer, come dance with us. And I'm like, okay, yeah. So then I was like, which one is this? What are they going to do? Let's see if I got it, And so we just started
You were
dancing.
doing very good for a while there. I mean, I couldn't even have gotten close
And it just happened. But
Yeah.
whatever the kids want to do it, sometimes I think people are afraid to be transparent, afraid to mess up, afraid to see if you have a funny side,
Right.
afraid to be goofy.
To be human.
Yeah, and I think one thing that the kids know, I'm the realest person you ever want to know. When you're wrong, I'm going to check you, and
Yeah.
we're going to get this together.
And that's
when you're right,
one of the things that
I'm
that
gonna
person
celebrate
had
you.
said to me.
Yeah, it's kind of like,
Yeah.
this is what she is. She doesn't change. I'm consistent. I love you all. I don't have favorites. It's just like you're all my babies, but I'm going to hold you the same standard I hold myself and my own personal children.
Firm but fair.
What kind of what does it take to be the principal of Leander High School? Like, what goes into a day's work, I guess, or what does it take to manage it?
Okay, a lot.
You like the president of the United States? You have your
It's like
people doing everything for
a
you?
mini world because you're expected to be everything to all people all the time. And so I tell people, I was telling just someone in the office, it was a long day, and I think I could have had a headache, which I get them just because you get tired. And I said, let me sit in the office and kind of just get my composure and see if it'll pass. I have to take a couple Tylenol and get back out there because I'm expected to be smiling and happy and positive. You know, you can't have a bad day, which is fine. But life happens, you know, but still people expect you to have a great day every day because you set the tone. So the way I see it for myself, if I walk around and I'm moping and I'm not happy, that's going to trickle down. Right.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree. And it's difficult to project that if you aren't completely feeling that inside.
Right.
And people can tell if you're being
genuine or, you know. So I just think you have to, time management is a must. Like I tell the students, I meet with students about grades and organization. I show them my phone, and it is crazy with just things all during the day and night events. But I was like, listen, if it's not written, it won't get done. So Ms. Spicer has to write everything down. My team knows that, hey, if I need Spicer here at this, put it on her calendar, she'll be there. If it's not written, it can't get done. So just kind of being organized. I have a great team. We delegate. If I say, hey, I can't go to this, can you go? They cover. If I can only make 5, they'll take the rest, you know. So everybody expects you to be a fan of their child, and everybody's child is in something different. So you really have to make sure that you're there.
Right.
Band, choir, swimming, tennis, golf, you name it. Hey, I want an art contest. Hey, I'm in FFA. Hey, I'm in National Honor Society. Come to this induction. All those different things that make up a high school, we have to go and do that.
And there are a lot.
There are a lot. And then you need to be in the classroom. You got to make sure academics is here. You know, all those different things. It's doable. You have to keep your sanity. You have to, when you have to shut off sometime and just kind of debrief.
And don't forget about you've mentioned them. You have 2 daughters of your own that have events that they want to go to.
And I'm at their events too.
Sounds like a long day.
And they even have events that they probably want to go to for their own friends that know you, that want you to go as well too. So that's really too nice.
Yeah, they're just like, Miss Spicer.
Are they at Round Rock High?
No, Cedar Ridge High School and Ridgeview Middle School.
Okay.
So I go to their events too, and I've been principal and administrator at both of those schools. So those are still my babies too, but they know my heart.
They still know you though.
They do. They do.
They know they can come to you. Now, let's talk a little bit about just your personal life, not related to your school family. Let's talk about your, you know, we've talked about your daughters a little bit, but talk about your spouse and, you know, your daughters a little bit. Any pets? You know, do you have a church family that you want to talk about? Anything like that? So give us a couple of minutes of that. Just tell us
some
about
people
Tiffany.
think that I'm married. I'm not anymore.
You're not married.
I'm divorced.
Okay, see, I had no idea.
It's okay. If people ask, and I'm very transparent, it's not a secret. We share the same last name, so people are like, hey, I met your wife. No, it's my ex, but she's still cool.
Yeah.
So we get along very well. I've been doing this job for a long time, so work is my family. My 2 daughters are my pride and joy. I don't know what I would do without them, and they keep me doing all the things I do. They're involved in volleyball, high school, middle school, and club. So we travel the state and sometimes out of state for their competitions. I do go to church. I'm a Christian. It's on my Twitter. It's not a big secret. I'm a follower of
It's nothing to be ashamed.
You know what I mean? And so that's where my strength comes from.
Right.
Because I deal with a lot of things. Everybody's not always happy.
No.
And when they have a problem, they come to me. And I'm supposed to solve it, fix it, make everybody happy, and let's go.
Well, the buck kind of stops up with you. So.
Yeah, you know, and I try my best to kind of validate and reassure and affirm people when they're talking and kind of sharing their hearts. I think when I do my job, I take it personal in that I'm a mom. I'm a single mom, and I understand what you're going through. So when people tell me, I tell them, I say, listen, I'm a mom too. I get it.
Yeah.
I know you're not mad at me. You're advocating for your child. And so that's the way I take it. I don't take it personal. They can cry, they can, you know, whatever. It's
they
okay.
will too.
You know, and so it's okay because they're talking about their child and they're passionate.
Sure.
Right.
I'm passionate too. So when I have to go to the principal's office to talk about my child, if I do,
Yeah.
I'm going to be passionate too, you know?
Right.
So I think my personal life blends into my professional in that usually people operate by their beliefs and their values. And so that's how I operate. I was raised a certain way. I believe certain things. And so I think that kind of, I'll say just kind of flows out of me. And that's how I respond to people. Yes, about pets. I don't have any. I bought a dog for my daughter, and it bit a hole
You
in
don't
one of
have
my
time to
couches.
see it.
Oh, I gave it back.
It went to the ranch.
So I'm kind of a mean mom
It's
in
back
that
on the
regard.
farm.
I don't do
Okay,
animals.
there's a lot of extra work
It
involved
is.
with it.
They're like children.
They are.
And I don't have time to have a third child, so just 2 is enough. No pets.
2 and the other however many thousand are at Leander.
I know, right? Yeah. But for fun, graduate school right now because I want to graduate with the class of 2016. But
So
I
how
like
are you
to
going
read.
to, if the Aggies and Longhorns ever play again and you graduate from A&M, how are you going to root for?
Well, I'm sorry.
Oh, you go.
No,
There you
because
go.
this is undergrad, baby.
There you go. That's where it all starts,
Yeah,
right?
that's my foundation.
Awesome.
You
I
can
like to hear
stay.
that.
You can stay.
Yes. Yes, I'm even a bigger fan now.
That was a trick question.
Hey, does anybody have a question for Miss Spicer in the audience? Otherwise, we're going to get into the Are You Smarter Than Parker McNeil game.
They don't have any questions.
Let's bring him on up. Now, the way that this works is
Okay.
that there are 3 categories of trivia.
Okay.
You get to pick because he's now the defending champ and the game is now named after him. So what's going to happen is he's going to get up and walk outside where he can't hear. Mm-hmm. You're going to pick a category and I'm going to ask you 3 questions.
Okay.
Then he's going to come back in. I'm going to ask him the same questions.
Okay.
If there's a tie, I have a tiebreaker, but that's how we determine if you're smarter than Parker.
There's no pressure, by the way.
Okay.
He beat Coach Pleasant 3-0,
Yeah.
so no pressure.
He's
Coach
so
Pleasant
smart.
even missed
He's so smart.
He even missed a question about himself, though. I don't think he was listening.
How do you miss that question? I'm going to ask him tomorrow.
Okay, so
Okay.
Parker, if you'll step outside,
Okay.
and we're going to hold you to the honor system there, Parker.
Yes, do not listen to my answers. That will be all correct, Mr. McNeil.
Okay. Now, we have 3 categories, as I said.
Okay.
Actually, I have a 4th category I added late, so you can choose from the 4.
Okay.
We have the City of Leander trivia.
Okay.
We have football history trivia. We
Is that NFL?
It's just
A little bit of
football
everything.
in general.
Okay.
Mostly NFL. I mean.
Okay.
Then we have high school mascot trivia, and then just straight state of Texas trivia.
Okay. Thank you. Whew, okay.
So which one of those categories would you like to choose from?
Let's start mascot.
Mascots, okay. Now, you should be able to get this.
First? Okay.
What is the mascot of Austin High School?
They're maroon and white. Hold on.
You
I
almost.
just said they're maroons.
It is the Maroons. Good.
Yay! Woohoo!
Okay. Now there's a little school in the Hill Country that kind of has a violent sounding mascot name. What is the mascot of Mason High School?
I don't even know where that is. Violent name,
It's just a little bit.
and it's Mason High School.
In Mason, Texas. It's
So
just
it's
in
easy.
there.
I think it would be an M, right?
Not necessarily.
Okay, good. Mason High School, guys? Anybody? I've never heard of it.
Looking at a lifeline.
You... Punch.
The Punchers. Mason Punch.
What a clue.
Now this one's a little bit bigger.
Okay.
Still in the Central Texas area.
Okay.
What is the name of New Braunfels? What's their mascot? New Braunfels High School.
Okay, this is not my answer. I was going to say Slitherbond, but that would not be their high school mascot, guys. What? Unicorns!
They are the Unicorns.
Woo! Did I win yet?
You've got 3. Let's see if he ties you.
Okay.
Okay, so you stay there.
Oh.
If somebody will grab Parker and tell him to come back in.
At least I beat Coach Pleasant, if nothing else. Oh, where'd you get these questions?
I just go find them.
I'm like, who knew?
I know a lot of high school nicknames
Oh my
for
goodness.
some odd
Well, I knew
reason.
he'd get me if it was football.
I watch a lot of the Friday football fever kind of stuff, and so you see these things.
Okay.
Okay, she chose the category of high school mascots, Texas high school mascots, okay? So she got all three correct. So pressure's on, Parker, but you perform well under pressure, so let's see. Okay, you ready? What is the mascot of Austin High School?
They are the Maroons.
That is correct. That's one. What is the mascot of Mason High School? It's a small high school in the Hill Country. They have a very unique name that's a little bit violent.
Oh, I know this one. I just can't remember.
He's being heckled by the audience.
I cannot remember that one.
Are you gonna pass?
I'll come back to it.
You'll come back to it. Okay. The third question is, what is the mascot of New Braunfels High School?
Unicorns.
They are the Unicorns. So you're back to Mason to see for the tie. Parker McNeil.
Punchers.
They are the Punchers. So we will go to the tiebreaker question to see who is smarter. Okay. I'm going to move away from high school mascots, okay? If you guess this number the closest, under or over, you win.
Keep in mind, she is the principal.
Okay. According to hometownlocator.com, what was the population of Leander as of July 1st, 2015? The closest number wins.
I go 46,500.
46.5.
She's going to do the Price is Right trick over here.
But it's not that. It's not.
So what did you just say?
46.5.
46?
46,500. Remember, it's the closest. It doesn't matter if you go over. Miss Spicer wins. It's 32,720.
That's pretty good.
That's okay. She's got a lot of graduate degrees. Don't feel bad about getting beaten by Miss Spicer. We do have a prize for Miss Spicer. You actually get your choice of the cooling towel for when you work out. You just put it in water. It works. Or you can have when you're studying late. That's what this is for. Or you can have some carabiners that match our helmets. They have lights on them too. So, okay, there you go. Everybody, let's hear it for Miss Spicer. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you very much.
It was nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you.
Before you leave, I want to do selfie with Spicer thing. So next we're going to have Coach Rob come up. We're going to ask Coach Rob a couple of questions.
Thank you,
Come
Parker.
on up, Coach Rob. Everybody give Coach Rob a hand. You know you love him. If you don't, he'll make you run. Okay, got it. All right, you're lucky, Coach Rob. Your interview time got shortened a little bit because we're running a little bit long.
That is great to hear.
I know you like that. Well, let's get right into it.
Let's do it.
Talk about the defense against Eastview. How'd they do?
We did all right, but it was our statistically our best game of the year. You would hope that happens towards the end of the year. So
Sure.
that's good. Had some big turnovers once again. Ray Gibson obviously continues to play well. Kind of real physical spark that we felt like we needed.
Those guys get up slow when they run into you, don't they?
Yeah, no doubt.
If they get up.
I'm really impressed with the way that he gets across the field. You know, he gets in there, gets hit, comes off his block, and he's next thing you know, he's on the other side of the field making a tackle.
Yeah, if you watched either of the last 2 games and somebody told you that kid hadn't played defense since, I don't know, Little League,
Yeah.
you know, it's surprising. He's exactly what we needed. There's no doubt about that.
There's a big dose of energy that you see from him. And there's some other things, and that's I kind of wanted to touch on him a little bit, and he is part of the next question. But the D-line looks like they're improving. It looks like you're working in some kind of rotation, keep guys fresh. Tyler Young playing nose, at least in the last 2 games, has looked really good to me.
Yeah.
He hustles across field, even if he's not in on the initial play there at the line of scrimmage. You find him at downfield, and when I'm editing film, I'm seeing him chasing down plays.
Yeah,
other
no
guys
doubt. Tyler, Godswill, Luke Owen,
All those guys,
and then Chris Uptonville started playing a lot more. Jeremy Cracy's in the mix right there. We're trying to build some depth, rotate guys through there, and hopefully, keeping them fresh makes them more productive.
I think it does make a difference if you can do that. But to a certain degree, you have to have the experience at certain times of the game. In a game like Eastview, you're able to do that a little more easily without repercussion. So this week maybe not as much.
No.
But
But now that said, I mean, we have a lot of confidence in all those kids that we just said. So that's kind of what you're building towards.
Right. Okay. Now we talked to Coach Dubleby a little bit at the last podcast about the defensive backs. They really have performed well all season. Talk about them a little bit. The linebackers have improved. The D-line's improved, but the D-backs have been there the whole time.
Yeah, and enough of them are here that I'll say, with the exception of the Marble Falls game, yeah, I agree with you. They've played well. Isaiah Turner's really, in my opinion, one of the better corners or defensive backs in the district. Mm-hmm. He's done a great job, and we asked that guy to do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Pedro Silva kind of fought through some injuries at the beginning of the year. He's done well. Chris Patek's just a little fire plug back there. I mean, he gives you everything he's got. Seth Venters, the self-made millionaire, just an overachiever. Cameron Paxton works in. We brought up a little sophomore, Michael Jorgensen, and we kind of tease him and have a good time with him. But he even got in there and mixed it up a little bit. So, yeah, we're proud of those guys. Coach Dubleby's done a great job getting them ready.
Yeah, we really get to witness the athleticism from every player on your defense. I don't think there's a name that you said that we haven't called numerous times in almost every game.
Right.
And it's pretty impressive to see all the athletes out there and just the raw talent. And you see them just in on play after play.
Right,
and they swarm the ball. I mean, they do everything that I would think you'd ask of them.
Well, and that's a perfect segue into my next question, which, you always hear when if you're a football fan, you always hear this kind of stuff. Defense wins championships. Offense, they fill the seats.
Did you hear that? Defense wins championships. I don't know if you knew that. Saying that.
Offense sells tickets. Defense wins
It's written down.
Yeah, it's
right
actually
here.
in writing.
Defense.
Now it's all on you now.
Okay, talk about that a little bit, though, because from the booth, it looks like the defense really is developing an identity as kind of a punishing defense. They're smacking guys. I mean, we see guys, not just Ray, other guys. With the big running back from Eastview on a short yardage play, Tyler hit him, knocked him back about 6 yards. I mean, they get up slow. It's like they don't want to be playing us.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think the first podcast you used the term reckless or something like that. I didn't like
true.
that.
You have that reputation.
I didn't like that one as much. But, yeah, the physical, absolutely. I agree with you. I think we as coaches overlook sometimes how many young guys we have on our defense. Just in our box right there at the beginning of the year, we started 5 underclassmen.
Right.
And so we're getting to the point now, late in the season. I think
They
they're
can't be
starting.
counted as
They're not
underclassmen.
starting. They're starting to not play like underclassmen.
Right.
There's not as many mental mistakes and kind of that feeling of being overwhelmed. So with that, you get confidence, and the more confident you are, you can just cut loose and play. And I think that's a lot of what it is, just confidence, and they're comfortable in our scheme, and they can just play ball.
Is that just how these kids are wired, or is it what you guys are doing in practice to get them to that point of I guess,
confidence or just knowing what to do?
Knowing where you're supposed to be.
I think probably a mix of the two. The first time
and the toughness.
The first time what I said, Leander's a special place. It's unique. The kids, the parents, the community, the administration is awesome. So I think the kids are a big part of that. You don't have to get on our kids a lot about effort and want to. They do that stuff. Our job as coaches is just to create drills or settings that simulate the game as best we can and allow them to do what what naturally they do. Yeah. And that's what we just try and keep things fresh and come up with as many creative ways as we can to get them ready for Friday night. But the effort's them. We talk a lot. For me, the most hated drill as a player was pursuit. And you did that at the beginning of practice, and I thought all pursuit was good for us, making me tired, And then, so I'm tired, and then they're like, "All right, well, have a great practice." Well, I'm tired. I want to go home.
Never mind the angles.
Yeah, we've never done pursuit drill once. Not ever, never.
You got great pursuit.
Wow.
And I just spoiled a little bit with who we coach, but coaching on film, and kids want to try hard.
Right.
Who doesn't want to try hard? So, we're lucky. We're lucky to have these guys.
Well, and along those lines, obviously we have 2 games left in the regular season. Win one of those games, we're in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and say we're going to make the playoffs. I have no doubt that these guys can pull at least one win out of these 2, if not both of them.
They're going to make the playoffs.
We are going to make the playoffs. Can this defense, can it step up and hold down playoff caliber opponents' offenses and keep us in games on a weekly basis to make a serious run in the playoffs?
Lord, I hope so.
You hope so.
I mean, we're going to try. We, like I said, we've been improving. I believe that. I think we're getting personnel in the right places, guys moving over from offense, moving guys around on our side of the ball, just kind of tightening things down for just that.
Well, and I would just say from the booth, and having watched plenty of football in my life, you can see from week to week the defense get better. Now, granted, the opponent's going to change, and talent of that opponent's going to change from week to week, but you see consistent play, you see better play from every position group. The linebackers are flying around. We already mentioned the DBs and the D-line. It's just you can really see it, and I think if the Lions can make a serious playoff run, no pressure.
Yeah,
it's on you guys.
Fantastic.
And we can see the tweaks too with the personnel and how effective that's been. And you mentioned the freshness that you're bringing, day in and day out for these guys. Going into these last 2 games, playoffs after that, what type of tricks do you have or do you have tricks up your sleeve still that you've just been waiting to get to this point to?
Not really. I mean,
slow release.
I don't like the term or the idea of a trick.
Well, not tricks, but you know what I'm saying.
Just again, trying to put kids in a position to be the best player they can be. And so not knowing who we're going to play in the playoffs, I don't know. You're going to play LBJ. Well, I don't know if that's true or not.
Right.
I know LBJ's a one-back spread offense, loves to throw the screen. That's our kind of team. But all that said, we played better, got kids in different spots, feel like we're improving. Well, we're going to find out on Friday.
Well, I think you can see the improvement, like I said, at least from our perspective. Now, in a prior podcast when we were getting to know all the coaches, we didn't get to know them all yet. But
it's a good segue we're about to have. I'm ready.
Yeah. But is that obvious? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I had asked you about who your favorite coach was, and you had mentioned who?
Coach Will McNeil.
Will McNeil.
We may need to speak up, though. So
okay. He's going to come in, Coach McNeil, and talk a little bit about the offensive line.
Fantastic.
Coach
Great job, guys.
The governor, you said?
Yes, the governor. That's right. That's what he goes by.
As long as he doesn't hold his offensive line meetings in the in the men's restroom part of the like LBJ. just pop that on. It's a little sweaty from Coach Rob. At least that's always the complaint Coach Smith has. So, and if you'll just put the mic a little bit right there by your mouth. Now, Coach McNeil, I want you to understand that your position group that you coach is my favorite position group, and it's because that's where I come from, is offensive line. That's my background, and that's what I like. And you're right; they don't get any glory. But I want you to talk about your offensive linemen and give them a little bit of credit where it's due, because they have continued to improve throughout the season as a unit and as individuals. Talk about them a little bit.
Well, they've gotten better because they're a very hardworking, very loyal group. Each one of them has their own talent. We're not big, but they make up for a lot because they prepare well. They know defenses. They understand their opponent. And they're always ready to play on Friday night because they'll put the time in. They're intent during film session. They're attentive and they learn, and they never take a half step.
Offensive line in high school is a lot different than what some people might think of offensive line in, say, youth football or something. It's not just I'm stepping play side and turning my guy. I mean, from week to week, you're learning new things about how you're going to attack a certain defense, even on the offensive line. Do you have a guy on the offensive line that kind of helps everybody know exactly what they're supposed to be doing?
I think that's probably our strength. I think from tackle to tackle, and we have 5 guys that rotate in, and from tackle to tackle, they all know what's going on. They do a great job of talking. They communicate well. We don't see that many different fronts at this point in the season.
Right.
But we do. But the personnel is different.
Right.
And that's the big change. So knowing the personnel, knowing their moves, knowing what they like to do, knowing how they play, for individual, players, individual opponents, that's the key, is knowing that individual that I have to block.
Well, and I think you can see, and we saw it a little bit in the Eastview game, and in the Georgetown Eagles game. The offensive line, you can see really how nasty they are, how effective they're being when you see the opponent start lashing out during plays, end of plays. The nose tackle from Eastview, your center just was working them all night long. And he looked like Vince Wilfork. Didn't play like him, obviously, but talk about how they, the attitude these guys have, and they don't back down from big D lines or anything like that.
No, I tell you, they play hard from whistle to whistle. From the time the ball snaps until the whistle. We don't teach holding. We don't teach grabbing face mask. We don't teach grabbing the jersey when the official's not looking. We don't teach that stuff,
right.
And we battle that stuff every week, but. We do try to teach them to play hard and to play until the second whistle, and to finish blocks and to take one more step. That's what we ask them to do.
And they play pretty intelligently as well.
Yeah, and I think I've been really impressed watching them grow, watching them get better, and as you mentioned, rather, a little undersized compared to some of the other offensive lines, but I don't know, the skill set, I guess, that you guys prepare them for the game, they don't miss a beat out there, and it's been really impressive to watch because, like you said, Big 79, I watched him get frustrated. I watched him try to, throw your center around, after the play, after the whistle, numerous times, and it's pretty impressive just to watch the power that comes from your line.
Yeah. Something that we talked about earlier, Coach Sturgeon and I kind of put this together back in the spring, and that's really where they made their big jumps, was in the spring. Of course, they had a great off season. Mm-hmm. They really got stronger. They got bigger. They got more confident in themselves. But we just kind of started this thing about being fast and perfect. And we know we're not going to be bigger than anybody, but if we can be fast and perfect for as long as we can during the game, then we're going to make a bigger, faster guy beat fast and perfect for a long period of time. And then if we can make him do that over the long haul of the game, then we're going to win.
He's going to have breakdowns because he's not used
That's
to
right.
doing that.
He's going to give in. He's going to cheat. He's not going to play good technique, and that's what we're trying to do, is make them have to defeat that all the time, every play.
Well, Coach, I think we're running a little bit of short time, but I do want you to answer the questions that we asked the other coaches a little bit. Where did you go to high school? Did you play high school ball? Did you play college ball? If so, where did you go?
Grew up in Edna, Texas.
Edna?
Coach Grissom and I from Edna, Texas. All those guys back there, they wish they were from Edna.
Yeah, but I was going to say, it sounds like we got a contingent in.
Yeah, they say they want to go to Edna, but I think they'd be scared if when we got to the city limits. I think they want to turn around and come back home. But no, I grew up in Edna, small town.
Right.
Played small. I played.
Is that near Ed Couch?
Not that far.
No, not that far.
Yeah, if you look at the center of the Gulf Coast, it's right in the middle, right at the midpoint of the Gulf Coast. So, anyway, so I graduated from there, went to Texas Lutheran, played football a couple of years there, and graduated, got my degree there, and then started. I worked in Austin for a while, but then went back to school and got my certificate, and so I've been teaching and coaching for 27 years. So.
Yeah, do you enjoy it? I mean, obviously
I still
you
do.
enjoy it. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to ask you the hard questions that I asked the other coaches now. Who is your favorite teacher?
My favorite teacher in all 12 grades?
Just however you want to answer that.
Well, that's a hard one. I had
Coach Rob used a college professor.
Yeah, I had a math teacher that was pretty special. He was a good dude. He knew how to teach, and I learned in his class.
Do you ever try to teach like him when you teach?
Well, I just tried.
He
He taught because he wanted us to learn, and that was why he taught, and it was obvious. So, that's I just remember that, and I guess that would be the case for anybody that I want to be like. It'd be like him.
Be him. Yeah. Who's your favorite coach then?
On our staff?
That's however you want to answer it. Coach Rob chose to answer it that way.
My favorite coach is Coach Sturgill.
Coach Sturgill.
Okay.
That's
my
choice.
favorite coach.
Is there anything about Coach Sturgill that makes him special?
Coach Smith calls Coach Sturgill the O-line whisperer.
The what?
The O-line whisperer.
Is that right?
He can talk quieter than anybody you've ever heard, and
still be heard.
Everybody hears it. It's so he's pretty amazing man. He's fun to coach with. He's fun to work with. Just a lot of integrity, and he's a hard worker.
We need to get him up here one of these podcasts because I've heard that from some of the players as well. So
yeah,
that's something we can look forward to. You have anything you want to ask Coach McNeil before we wrap this up?
Good.
Okay, Coach McNeil, we appreciate you coming out.
Thank you.
Good luck on Friday. Get those guys ready.
Thank you.
Coach Smith, if you'll come back up, we'll close this out.
Appreciate it. Real quick, I wanted to, this weekend, y'all are going to be putting some purple ribbons on your helmet, and I just wanted you to talk a little bit about that. I know that you guys have the Leander, I guess Rouse High School and Leander High School joined the Williamson County Domestic Assault Team Partnership, and it I guess covers a little bit about domestic violence and teen domestic violence and teen violence against their spouses.
They asked us to go over there. They invited us over there to the Williamson County Courthouse to be a part of that, and it's a big honor to be asked, and to make our kids aware of that, the teen violence that about dating and being a gentleman and stuff like that. We talk about that a lot in our program. We try to hit something like that every week, once a week about that. But we're going to wear, along with the breast cancer awareness pink, we'll have a purple ribbon on our helmet we'll put on there just to kind of show our support of that.
Okay. Awesome. Well, everybody, we're playing Friday. Vista Ridge, number 10. Tune in on the TSRN app to listen live. We obviously need you to come out and support the Leander Lions as they will make the playoffs, and it might as well be this week, right, guys?
Yeah, let's just beat Vista and take care of it.
Let's do it. Beat Vista.
We're excited.
Thank you, Miss Spicer.
Ms.
Thank
Spicer.
you, Coach McNeil. Thank you, Coach Rob.
Brooklyn Heights is awesome.
Thank you, Brooklyn Heights Pizza. Thank you, SHN Sports, for hosting, and Carl Schoening with Gary Gutierrez and Mickey Holden. I'm Chuck Tracy. See you next time.